Good morning, preschoolers. Unfortunately, we can't have our regular Zoom class today because I'm in my new house and we don't have our internet set up yet. So I'm going to record this and upload it, but we'll get our internet set up this afternoon and then I'll see you tomorrow on our regular Zoom classes. Today I wanted to read a few books for you. This one's called Jack and the Beanstalk, and then I'm also going to read Have You Filled a Bucket Today? I'll read Jack and the Beanstalk first. I picked this book because I thought it was fun since we did some bean activities in our curriculum kit this week. Hope you had fun sorting the beans and writing your names with the beans and maybe creating some mosaic art with the beans. And I'd love to see photos of what you came up with. This book is a folk tale or folklore. And just like The Three Little Pigs or the story of Pinocchio or the Goldilocks and the Three Bears story, this story has been told from generation to generation. So grandparents have told this story to their children and grandchildren. And so when someone writes a book about a folktale, the versions can be really different. So you may have heard the story of Jack and the Beanstalk before, and this version of Jack and the Beanstalk might be a little bit different than the one that you've heard. So let's see how this one goes. Once upon a time, a boy named Jack lived with his mother in a little cottage. They were very poor and only had the milk from their cow to drink. One day, the cow stopped giving milk. "We need money for food," said Jack's mother. "Take our cow to market and sell her." Jack set off to market, and on the way he met an old man who wanted to buy the cow. "I'll pay you with these magic beans," said the man. "They will grow up to the sky." "Okay," said Jack. He took the beans and gave his cow to the man. When Jack's mother found out what he had done, she was very upset. "You sold our cow for a handful of beans?" she cried, flinging them out the window. That night, Jack fell asleep feeling very unhappy. Outside, rain fell on the enchanted beans. The next morning, Jack saw that an enormous beanstalk had grown where the beans had fallen. Jack dashed outside. The towering beanstalk stretched up through the clouds. Where does it go, he wondered. Without giving a second thought, Jack started to climb the beanstalk. He climbed higher and higher until the cottage was far below. Above the clouds, Jack found a gigantic castle. He tiptoed into the dining room. "I wonder who lives here," he whispered. There on a huge table was a big bag of shiny gold coins. Suddenly, the ground began to shake. Jack heard heavy footsteps. Thump, thump, thump. Jack ran and hid. An enormous giant appeared. He twitched his nose and sniffed. "Fee, fi, fo, fum, I smell the blood of an Englishman. Be he alive or be he dead, I'll grind his bones to make my bread." The giant looked around, but he couldn't see Jack. He sat down and gobbled up his food. Soon he fell fast asleep. Jack crept out from his hiding place. He grabbed the big bag of gold coins and ran. Before long, he was climbing back down to the beanstalk. Jack and his mother were rich, but they spent too much and soon the gold coins ran out. So Jack climbed back up the beanstalk to the castle once more. "Fee, fi, fo, fum, I smell the blood of an Englishman," said the giant as he stroked a hen that laid eggs of gold. Just as before, the giant could not find Jack. So he gobbled up his food and fell asleep. Jack grabbed the hen and climbed back down the beanstalk. The gold eggs made Jack and his mother rich again, but Jack wanted more. He climbed back up the beanstalk to the castle. Jack found the giant dozing while a golden harp played sweet music. Fee, fi, fo, fum, muttered the giant in his sleep. Jack snatched the golden harp, but it shrieked. Master, master, the giant leapt up. He chased Jack all the way to the beanstalk. Fee, fi, fo, fum, roared the angry giant as he climbed down the beanstalk after Jack. Mother, fetch an axe, shouted Jack when he reached the ground. With a chop, 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 he cut the beanstalk down. It fell with a terrible crash, and that was the end of the angry giant. Jack and his mother kept the hen that laid gold eggs and the golden harp that played sweet music. They lived happily ever after and never saw the angry giant again. The second book that I wanted to read today, I read to the insect class last week in the afternoon, and we ran out of time to read it in the morning for the reptile class. So I wanted to read it, and if you've already heard me read it, you could read it again because it's such a great book. It's called Have You Filled a Bucket Today by Carol McLeod. All day long, everyone in the whole wide world walks around carrying an invisible bucket. You can't see it, but it's there. You have a bucket. Each member of your family has a bucket. Your grandparents, friends, and neighbors all have buckets. Everyone carries an invisible bucket. Your bucket has one purpose only. Its purpose is to hold your good thoughts and good feelings about yourself. You feel happy and good when your bucket is full, and you feel sad and lonely when your bucket is empty. Other people feel the same way too. They're happy when their buckets are full, and they're sad when their buckets are empty. It's great to have a full bucket, and this is how it works. Other people can fill your bucket, and you can fill theirs. You can fill your own bucket too. So how do you fill a bucket? You fill a bucket when you show love to someone, when you say or do something kind, or even when you give someone a smile. That's being a bucket filler. A bucket filler is a loving, caring person who says and does nice things to make others feel special. When you treat others with kindness and respect, you fill their bucket. But you can also dip into a bucket and take out some good feelings. You dip into a bucket if you make fun of someone, or when you say or do mean things, or when you ignore someone. That's bucket dipping. Bullying is bucket dipping. When you hurt others, you dip into their bucket. You will dip into your own bucket too. Many people who dip have an empty bucket. They may walk around and think they can fill their own bucket by dipping into someone else's, but that will never work. You never fill your own bucket when you dip into someone else's. But guess what? When you fill someone's bucket, you fill your own bucket too. You feel good when you help others feel good. All day long, we are either filling up or dipping in to each other's buckets by what we say and what we do. Try to fill a bucket and see what happens. You love your mom and dad or parents. Why not tell them you love them? You can even tell them why. Your caring words will fill their buckets with joy. Watch for smiles to light up their faces. You will feel like smiling too. A smile is a good clue that you have filled a bucket. If you practice, you'll become a great bucket filler. Just remember that everyone carries an invisible bucket and think of what you can say or do to fill it. Here are some ideas for you. You could smile and say hi to the bus driver. He has a bucket too. You could invite a new kid at school to play with you. You could write a thank you note to your teacher or someone else. You could tell your grandpa that you like spending time with him. There are many ways to fill a bucket. Bucket filling is fun and easy to do. It doesn't matter how young or old you are. It doesn't cost money. It doesn't take much time. And remember, when you fill someone's bucket, you fill your own bucket too. When you're a bucket filler, you make your home, your school, and your neighborhood better places for all. Bucket filling makes everyone feel good. So, why not decide to be a bucket filler today and every day? Just start each day by saying to yourself, I'm going to do something to fill someone's bucket today. And at the end of each day, ask yourself, did I fill a bucket today? Yes, I did. And that's the life of a bucket filler. And that's you. I have a little story. I went to the grocery store this morning after I took Izzy to school, and I forgot my wallet. But I had already put all my groceries up to the register, and I was standing there, and I had done the self-checkout, so I rang up all my groceries myself, and I realized I didn't have my wallet. And a very nice person that I don't know was standing next to me, and they said, how can I help you? And this very nice person loaned me the money that I could use to pay for my groceries, and then I'll pay that person back. But I don't know that person. It was a stranger to me before they did such a nice thing, but that person really filled my bucket today, because otherwise I would have had to go all the way back home and come back and get the groceries, and instead, somebody who I don't even know did a really nice thing for me, and they are definitely a bucket filler, and that filled my bucket. I can't wait to hear all the ways that you are filling buckets. So I'll see you tomorrow on our Zoom class on Tuesday. Bye, friends.